Hey, it's Wendy Alane Wright, the Hollywood and Talent Manager, and I am ecstatic to be here with James Ciccone, one of the greatest acting coaches in the world and an amazing working actor. And how you doing, James? You good?
Thank you, Wendy. So honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me come into your community. It's done fabulous things, amazing things for so many actors, actors I've come in touch with, and so on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, listen, you're a very busy working actor. You've been in some iconic movies. The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese himself. The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. You know, people dream of being in these kind of projects. These are massive Oscar-winning projects. But an actor doesn't start their career out in those types of projects. That's something you work towards, right?
Yeah, well, for me, it was that way. Some actors get lucky. Some actors do to land there. I mean, I think it's a little overzealous to think that, hey, I'm going to, take an acting class and I'm going to, be working alongside Scorsese. I haven't seen it happen that way, but I'm sure it can. But, like we can go buy a lottery ticket, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I grinded at the bottom. I started acting late. I started acting in my 40s. I, decided I wanted to do it, wanted to go after it, was going to take a stab at it. Found myself really listening and following largely the wrong advice, the wrong people, because I just didn't know any better. When I had started out about 15 years ago, I didn't have a Hollywood winner circle. I wasn't fortunate enough to, have a place that would give you the right direction and the right advice and kind of put you in the right direction, and then realize the rest was kind of up to you to do the work and make that happen. I had to stumble, fall, figure it out on my own. Probably took me about 5 years before I felt like I was in the right place, getting in front of the right people. So I'd wasted a lot of time. I don't know if you really call it wasting it, but I took my lumps along the way trying to figure it out. So I had to figure it out on my own. And then when I did, it took, it was a grind. I had started with the 2-liners and the 3-line, like that sort of the co-star stuff. Nobody knew me. Nobody was going to trust me with anything big. I had booked my first 5 co-stars without representation by getting in front of casting directors, figuring out where the workshops were. You can't get hired unless you get in front of the people who do the hiring or have some sort of hand in the hiring. So that was the biggest struggle for me to figure out. And then, of course, I went to performing arts high school as a kid, so I was trained a little bit. Then I started training it as an adult. And then even the training element of it, I realized that I needed to put more emphasis on mastering the audition, because you didn't get hired because you were a good actor. You got hired because you understood the audition process and you could do the work and master the scene on a really short period of time, which is usually about a 24-hour notice, and do it. So it's more than just being a good actor and learning how to act. Yeah. It's learning how to do it in the circumstances of the audition. And believe it or not, even like a 3-line, audition, if you don't know what you're doing, is overwhelming. So I learned that. I had developed a system for doing that. And I think when I booked a soap opera, an under 5 soap opera on As the World Turned, and then I started to get some network opportunities like on Blue Bloods and Boardwalk Empire. Then I did a few lines on Blue Bloods, and then I got a few days on a show called White Collar, and I got a few episodes on a show called Boardwalk Empire. And little by little, I started to get, trusted a little more. But the first 22 roles that I had booked, the first 22 major roles I had booked, were through casting directors who I had met in a workshop setting. In a workshop environment. I might not have, I've gone to workshops and the next day got an audition from them, but I may not have gotten an audition for 6 months later, or, by that time I had a manager representing me, submitting me, but I made those relationships and got to know them through that. Yeah, so that's where they see your work is,
in workshops with casting directors or schools that bring casting directors in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You booked a lot of stuff: Law and Order, Master of None, Person of Interest, Bull, Shades of Blue, Gotham, Blacklist, Quantico, Manifest, FBI, The Deuce. You were recurring.
For 3 seasons. That was
a
lot of fun.
Aquafina is Nora from Queens, Hit and Run. So plus the movies that you've booked. Your career is just amazing.
Oh, thank you. So, for every actor, I think it's one of the inherent downfalls of this business is no matter where you're at, you're always trying to get to the next rung on the
Excellent.
ladder. So you're always in this perpetual state of wanting to
Yeah.
do better or do more. Yeah, I did a nice piece on what is it called again? Marvelous Miss Maisel, which is going to be out season 4. I'm waiting
Yeah,
for that
that's
to come out.
fantastic.
That was a really good show. I did
What
a
did you
movie.
play?
I play a Monsignor, and I have a really nice monologue in it. It's great. It's a great part.
And you went to seminary, so that kind of.
And I did, yeah. And I
That
think
back
that
around.
helped. I think we talk about special skills a lot. That's one of your big things you always talk about. Ironically, I don't have a lot of special skills, and I don't think actors should get crazy checking all those boxes, and they have one, and then nothing seems special about it anymore,
Yeah.
right? So I play trumpet. I booked Joker as being in De Niro's Murray Franklin band because I played a little trumpet.
Yep.
I booked White Collar as a referee because I had boxed when I was younger. That was a special skill. I'm pinned now. We'll find out for the George Foreman biopic that they're doing now. I'm waiting for an answer. I met with the director the other day. So that's George Tillman, who does he did all of the barbershop movies, wrote and directed the barbershop. So I'm hopeful with that. We'll see how that goes. If not, then they'll get me on the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, and I went to seminary, and that's on my resume. So they called me in for this part, and in the callback, I got to talk about that a little bit. So the things, our real life experience is always, super important in what we bring to the table. And I think that casting and directors and producers, they want to hire people. They want to hire actors. They want to know who you are, and who you are is always good enough, and what you bring to the table is really richer than you probably imagine.
Yes, and I think that's the big thing with all people is they underplay who they really are. They downplay their incredible gifts, their talents, and who they are is what makes them marketable. Their differences, their flaws, their unique characteristics.
I always see when I see people like post on the talent managers for actors. Should I do this? Should I lose weight? Should I change my hair? All of that. I think that's an obstacle. People have to look at who they are and see that as their strength. Yeah. I could rattle off so many actors. Lawrence Fishburne has a big gap in his teeth. Forrest Whitaker has a crooked eye. Kenneth Michael Williams, who just recently passed away, I'd worked with, has a big disfiguring scar on his face. So those are the reasons sometimes why you look. It just makes you interesting for the screen.
Even Tom Hardy, his bottom teeth are all a mess.
Right.
None of them are straight.
Yeah. So, being true to who you are and being okay with that, and having that confidence is super important in your journey. A lot of people had told me early on, not professionals.
Okay.
You should lose your New York accent. So every casting director I asked said, that's why you'll work. So it's my imperfection in my speech, or that defines me from where I am, makes me a niche type for certain roles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely
they're not going to cast me as the Harvard professor, but that's okay. They'll cast me as the coach. Right.
Yeah. So, at Harvard.
Right.
You have this beautiful show up to book the role shirt.
Yeah. So I wore my Smith. This is our acting program. We call it Show Up to Book the Role because that's what we do. We teach actors. It's a training program for actors to master the art of the audition and scene work. And we get a lot of industry guests and professionals who come in who are currently casting shows, which is a big thing that I believe in, and I talked about how it would help my career, is getting in front of the right people so they can see your work. Actors in my community get auditions all the time, whether they're not repped, whether they're not union, from these casting directors. When you're right for a certain role and you do good work and you can get in front of them. Yeah. So that's what
you've always said that, if you do the right work in front of the right people, that's how you book. You might not have a lot of experience. You might not even have a lot of training yet.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen, and like I said, I grinded from the bottom. We had one actor, what's his name? Yana Jolstick. It was her second audition ever. It was a top of show guest star for Bull. She had a huge monologue. She was just perfect for the part, and she did a great job. She was training for me for about 2 years. So look, some actors it comes quicker for other actors, but she's put the work in, and she's always there training. We have, a lot of people are with me for a couple of years, grinding away. It's not an easy business. There's no guarantees,
sure. But the better trainers that you work with, the better actor that you are, the more exposure that you get to the right people, the more opportunity you have to book. So you gotta stack the deck in your favor.
You got to show up and be present. You got to put yourself in the right arena, and you have to have all the boxes checked. Your headshots needs to be, compelling. Your resume needs to be right. You have to have clips or reels and all that stuff. You have to do your work, and then you got to go out there and pound the pavement and get in front of the right people.
How can people train with you at Show Up to Book the Role? I know your classes are full a lot, but I mean.
Yeah, I don't take on anybody one-on-one. The reason why is because I don't have enough time, because I have so many actors in the community get auditions. What I try to do is leave myself open to work with actors who are working with me in the community when they get a network TV audition. I try and find time to work with them, or at least look at their clips, look at their audition tape, give an opinion, give them an adjustment. So that's really, I'm committed to the community. So
but to take the classes is what I mean.
You have
work with you in the classes.
Yeah, so once you're in the community, you're taking the classes, then you'll have access to everything we offer. So it's we have classes. It's only a 2-week commitment. It's ongoing. I have people with me for a couple of years.
Yeah,
but we only have to pay for 2 weeks at a time. So if you don't like it, if it's not for you, you're not locked in. If you miss a class, you get a free makeup, because we have actors who book work and they're not there and then they come back, so nobody loses anything. Once you're in the community, then you'll have you get to work with me in the class. We have Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Saturday afternoon. Monday and Wednesday is 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. And then on Saturday it's 1 p.m. Eastern, which would be 10 a.m. Pacific time. So, and then we have, on the other days, we have other classes and workshops and networking events and things like that actors can get involved with and make those relationships. We've got tons of actors representation. That's what we do. We try to align it with representation and so on. When an actor's ready, the casting directors see it, the agents and managers see it when their package is right and they've done the work and they're, they can, as a manager or a rep looks at it from, is this actor castable? Can they make money? Can they book something? So when the actor's ready for that, then we'll try and get them aligned in that direction as well.
So how can people reach you, stay in touch with you, join your community? And
they can just find me on Facebook or in the TMFA. They can reach out to me directly. That's fine. I don't mind. Or they could go to the website, showuptobooktherole.com.
I'm so glad that you are teaching, not just acting, but teaching and giving back what you know to all these people that have dreams and that want to live that life that you're living. They spend years not knowing how to get in there, but when someone like you who's doing it takes the time to show them, you're putting the hand back and bringing people along with you, it's freaking noble and amazing.
But the information you give at the Winner's Circle, it's invaluable. If you get the wrong information, you're going to waste all your resources and your time in the wrong direction. And that's just, you're going to run around in a circle. So.
And that's what I'm really excited, because at HWC, we started doing a lot more things. Like we're going to be doing a showcase and I'm excited about it. I got 50 agents who are.
That's amazing.
And it's a different kind of showcase. What I'm doing is I'm creating an Excel spreadsheet with the headshots of all of the actors that are finished the course, that have their materials together, that are ready, with their Actors Access link, their Casting Networks links, and then presenting it to the agents, and they can just sit right at their desk and go through and see who they're interested in.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and we're not charging them anything to do that. It's just free.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The Actors Access link, I always tell people, that's the industry standard. Just everything should be right there. They can find everything right there.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. Thank you for everything you do for actors. You're my hero. I love you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks for coming today. Wendy Alane Wright. We were just talking to James Ciccone, the legendary acting coach and working actor, who's just got a hell of a resume, and he's an amazing man, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. So thanks for watching today, and I will see you in the next episode of my podcast, or just join me over at Talent Managers for Actors, and we will give you guidance and advice and information for free.